Welcome to Life Talk, our monthly podcast that dives into crucial topics concerning the sanctity of life. I'm Bishop John Dolan, your host today, and I'm assisted by Marina Salvador Velasquez from the Office for Respect Life Ministries. Hi, Marina, way over there. We've changed our spots, haven't we?
We did.
It's great.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. And today, boy, I think this is going to be a wonderful episode. We are with our guests. So Karen Ord, who runs the English Retreats coordinator. She is the coordinator for the English Retreats. Right. And then, of course, we have a wonderful friend, a longtime member of Rachel's Vineyard, too, right? Haven't you? How long have you been here?
Myself? About 12 years.
Yeah, Judith Villegas. And so, well, thank you very much, the two of you, for being here. I think you're helping with the Spanish retreats. You're the Spanish retreats coordinator, correct?
Yes, one of them.
Yeah, so it's great. It's wonderful to have the two of you here. And so why don't we just get started by telling us a little bit about Rachel's Vineyards. Rachel's Vineyards, yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Rachel's Vineyard is a post-abortive healing ministry for men and women, or anybody that's been affected by abortion. Society doesn't necessarily think that there are ill effects after abortion, mm-hmm. or that it causes any lasting effects, emotionally, spiritually, physically even. And we know different because we've been through it. And so the retreats help. It's a spiritual retreat. Mm-hmm. It's scripture based. Mm-hmm. And the Lord, if people are open to come, the Lord comes and shines light into the darkness.
To me, I think that's just a very, very profound piece of who we are as human beings. It's not enough for somebody to just have to take up some action in their life, good or bad. It's also important for us to kind of help others pick up the pieces, and that's what you have been doing, I think, Absolutely. Over these years with the English-speaking retreats and the Spanish-speaking retreats. Well, how did you ever get involved in this?
I'm post-abortive, so yeah. I had 2 abortions. After a few years, that became a burden for myself. Mm-hmm. It was my life completely changed, but I was looking for a healing, and I found Rachel's Vineyard. So since I went to that retreat, I just hungry to help others, mm-hmm. to heal, to live what I lived at that moment. So
the two of you are pretty darn heroic to do this. I mean, it's pretty amazing. You stepped out of yourself, which is something that we've been trying to encourage others to do. I think Marina has been just a pretty amazing person in the Office for Respect Life, and she's just been tremendous in that regard. And so how did you ever come to know of Rachel Vineyard?
It's interesting, Bishop. I had been doing crisis pregnancy counseling for some years, mm-hmm. and while I was doing that, I also did post-abortion. I was trained to do post-abortion counseling, and I have many stories of women who either were seeking to terminate their pregnancy, weren't sure, they decided to continue their pregnancy, but there were other times when some women, unfortunately, and that's what you get to see, right? The woman who came, and I remember, 20 weeks pregnant, and she said, I can't have this pregnancy. And she decided to go on with the abortion. And later on, she came back and she says, I regret my abortion. And so we go back to, when we see women who are post-abortive, we say they're seeking healing, right? That's why they reach out, because they want to get out of where they're at. They want to move forward, but they don't know how, so they seek for help. And our job, as you said, Bishop, is to pick up, to help them, we say we're the last sign of hope and the first sign of mercy, right? We don't judge them. We embrace them and we accompany them. So that's how I got to know Rachel's Vineyard. And while, when we talk to women in the center, we only accompany them for a while, but then they need to move forward with most professional healing. Mm-hmm. What happens at Rachel Vineyard? You said it's scripture-based, but who comes to these retreats and what happens during the retreat? How many days? Who gets invited? I understand that there's men involved as well.
Yes, men or anybody that's been affected. We've had grandparents come because they have grandchildren in heaven. We've had best friends that noticed something happened with their best friend. And they've suggested that they come on the retreats. We've had aunts, uncles. So there's so many people that are affected by abortion. Siblings, yes, siblings.
Well, who serves on these retreats? Like, how many volunteers would you have?
Well, on any given retreat, we usually have between 10 and 12 volunteers. The volunteers are all people that have been through the retreats themselves. Okay. And felt like they, after the retreat, they say, how do I get involved? I want to give back. With what I've received, I want to also help. And so we have a beautiful, wonderful, compassionate team.
That is so wonderful. I really do believe that healing begins by giving. Mm-hmm. It really does. What you're doing and what they have been doing is huge. Mm-hmm. Healing begins by giving. And, why is it important for those who have been affected by abortion to go through this? What would you say is kind of the primary reason? If you were to give, say, an elevator speech on why this is important.
There's so many reasons. Do you have anything?
It takes a whole retreat to go through it.
It does. It does. Well, for me, I wasn't seeking a retreat. Mm-hmm. It was God that said it's time to bear your cross. And I was like, I was going to take that secret to my grave. Right. And I was not seeking. And I did not know how to bear my cross. So I went to the Aid the Women Center, and I decided to volunteer. And it was during them training me, and she mentioned abortion and said, by the way, I had an abortion. And I kind of whispered, me too. And the next thing I know, she said, well, I'm going on this healing retreat. You should come with me. And I said, no, thank you. Yeah. I worked really, really hard to bury that. And I did not realize why I had rage and anger and addictions, all these things. And I used to pray, why, God, what's wrong with me? Yeah. I didn't understand. So he heard my prayer and he sent me where I needed to go. Huh. I didn't realize that there was so much, that abortion had affected my whole life. Yeah. It had been 22 years.
My goodness. Oh my God.
Adding a little bit to what Karen is mentioning, we've seen a lot of women or even men, they've lived with this for over 20 years, 40 years, and on top of addictions and depression, they also have like body sickness. Physical. Uh-huh. Yeah, and they don't understand that because of them keeping that secret, that could cause so many things, so many.
When we suppress it and we push it down, it has to come out somehow. And a lot of times it comes out in physical ailments.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but here in the diocese, we also have an office for mental health ministry.
It's beautiful.
And we go to that same problem that when people don't talk about, say, the loss of a loved one through suicide, they bury that. It does manifest itself in other ways down the line, unless they just open up that wound, start talking about it. Mm-hmm. Some wonderful things happen. Mm-hmm. So I once again, I thank you very much for your openness to this, to opening the wounds, if you will, kind of letting people look at those wounds. Because when you see what you got, then you can start healing. It's as simple as that, and it's as hard as that.
Yeah.
I realize that.
It is.
And organizing the retreats, I do a lot of coordination, and I've done a lot of this as well. When you're planning a retreat, you invest a lot of your energy, and plus planning the talks and gathering, the speakers and all of that. What makes you continue showing up and serving in the ministry? Why? Why do you do it?
Oh, that's
Easy.
yes. It's just I don't think there's like really words, but just the feeling of what you received, like God's mercy to me, knowing that because I chose to have these abortions, whether, it doesn't matter why, but I chose to do this. And by going to a retreat and feeling God's mercy, my kids forgave me. I felt it there, and to have a moment with my kids, the kids that I chose not to have. I just want everyone to feel what I feel, to start living, because once you do that, I felt like when I did it, I felt my soul coming out of my body. And when I went there to that retreat, I came back. I'm alive again. Like my soul came back to me. And just that God's mercy is just amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Well, that's the whole point, isn't that God is the God of mercy. And all we have to do is just open our heart to just that. Open it up just a little bit to the mercy of God. Boy, God will just run with that. He's so generous with mercy, isn't he? Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
What an absolute joy. But it seems as though, that recovery, that all has helped you to find joy beyond the mercy, which I think is great. The two of you are, like I said, are quite heroic in your ability to share that, to open up that wound, to look at it. I think that's just great. Now, what would, if someone needed to go on this retreat, maybe one of our viewers, if they needed to go on the retreat, or maybe they know someone who needs to go, where do they go? How do they get this information? I'm sure we're going to be posting this a little bit on this podcast, but what steps would they need to take? Where? No.
Okay, well, they could go to rachelsvineyard.org and look up Arizona, find retreat. You could put in their zip code, and it'll come up in the Phoenix Diocese. It'll show all the retreats in Arizona. And our numbers are both listed on the website, and they can contact us. They can call us, text us, email us, and we'll have a conversation with them, or we will, depending on what their comfort zone is, we can reply either via email or however they contact us.
Right. Now, I mean, every person who calls, each person who calls is important. And of course, not everyone will say, "I'm going on this retreat," but many will. So we wanted to just kind of get a sense of how long is the retreat, so that people don't feel as though they're overly burdened. Is it a weekend, or what does it look like?
It is a weekend retreat. We check in at 4:30 on Friday afternoon, and the retreat concludes on Sunday around 5 p.m. And we stay at the retreat center the entire weekend.
Are you at liberty to share like a wonderful success story of a person who has gone on this retreat?
Do you want to do that? Or do you want me to?
There's a lot.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Every single person that comes on the retreat. We say on Sunday afternoon when we see people, we say they have a God lift because they look like a different person.
Right.
And a lot of times the same thing too is after the retreat, we kind of have Godnesia because, it is confidential.
Right.
And so, we don't share stories too much. We have the evaluations, and I do share the evaluations because they're anonymous. I didn't bring any with me, but I got an email on Sunday morning from somebody that came on a retreat a couple years ago. And she said, it's been a couple years, but I just wanted you to know that my life was changed. And it continues to change. My relationship with God is stronger than it ever has been. My relationship with my mother has healed. And we now have a relationship. We tried to get pregnant again after the retreat. And sadly, we had several miscarriages. But I wanted to share with you that on Good Friday of this year, we had our sixth son.
Wow.
And she sent pictures.
Wow.
And so it's those kind of things that keep us going, you know. The stories that, and we hear them all the time. We have Mantle of Hope. We have a monthly support group.
I was going to ask that, like, what is the follow-up to the retreat?
We have a monthly support group. You can come to the support group before or after a retreat. So if you need continued support after the retreat, we meet once a month. Well, actually, we meet twice a month. We started meeting at the Aid to Women Center on Tuesday evenings once a month in April. And so we meet there once a month, and we also meet at Mount Claret once a month. And we send out a reminder and we put everybody that's been on a retreat on a list. And last Saturday we had and 10 people came, and it was a beautiful meeting.
Well, Karen and Judith, this has been a beautiful meeting too. I really do thank you very much for coming out here, for being vulnerable. I know it's still a moment where you're able to share your own vulnerability. That's no easy thing, and I'm grateful to God that you were doing that. And Marina, I know you would share the same feeling that this is just it's an honor to be in your presence, really. And you know, I'm just thinking, boy, if you weren't compelled to make a move in your own life, you know, toward some form of healing, if you have lost someone through abortion, look to these two women. Look to the retreat that is a possibility for you. A retreat is a great way. It really is a retreat. Going back, reflecting with God, reflecting with a God who doesn't find joy in punishing or shaming, but simply a God who chooses to give you hope and mercy, which can only lead to joy. So thank you for joining us today for Life Talk, and please like and subscribe and send us your ideas in the comment section for future episodes. And have a blessed day. Thank you for being here.